So you've decided to get into cycling. Nice, welcome. And I know it can feel a little overwhelming when you first start. There's all this talk and jargon about watts per kilo, FTPs, cleats, bonking, but you're busy trying not to fall off at the traffic lights. You start Googling what to wear when you're cycling, and you end up in a deep forum chat reading about, is tubeless better? Here's the thing, you don't need fancy kit. You don't even need to be fast. After getting loads of things wrong myself, I found a handful of really simple tips that make riding so much easier, more enjoyable, and way less intimidating. These are 10 things I wish someone had told me when I first started. There are a few things you should know that will make getting into cycling that much easier. Tip number 1, the ABC check: air, brakes, and chain. Now, if you're not familiar with your bike, it's good to check all 3. I forgot to hook in my brakes once on an old road bike, and well, you can imagine how dangerous that is. So please make sure your brakes are working before you go out riding. There are 4 reasons behind the importance of tyre pressure. First one is efficiency, getting further, faster, easier. The second one would be comfort. So are you really feeling those bumps? The third one is control. So the control you have as you're going around the corners and things like this, and making sure it's at the right inflation to not get punctures. On the side of your tyre, you're going to find something called PSI. That's going to give you the max amount of air you should put in your tyre. Do not go above that. That's not necessarily going to tell you how much to put in your tyres. This depends on a few things. If your tyre's underinflated, you're going to find the ride a little sluggish, slow, and you're more likely to get a pinch puncture. If it's overinflated, you're going to feel the bumps, and it's going to be a gnarly ride because every time you hit a little bit of gravel, you're going to feel it, and you're more likely to slip on the gravelly corners. A simplified way to look at it is breaking it up into 3 tiers: lower, middle, and higher. The lower is going to be great for maybe more rough stuff if you're going down some single track or really rooty areas or big stone. Middle for light gravel and maybe some fire tracks, things like this. And higher for things like road cycling if you're going to spend more time on the road. A really useful tool is silca.cc. This website allows you to plug in your tires and things like this and the terrain you're going to go out on, and will give you an estimate of how much pressure to put in them. Tip number 2 is don't be intimidated by kit. I know things can get pretty expensive very easily, and it can get pretty overwhelming with all the little things that can come in handy. But honestly, your legs do the talking. There are some basic things to start off with that you might want to get, but apart from those, just build as you go. Focus on joy and exploration, not fancy Strava stats and Garmin's heart rates and things like this. You don't need all that stuff. First of all, you got into cycling to have fun, so remember that. I'd say bib shorts are probably worth getting at the beginning because this is going to protect your bum and all your special bits. This is good for comfort and stopping chafing, and so the bib bits are going to keep your shorts up so no one gets to see your ass and you don't get a chilly back. Most important thing when it comes to helmets is just making sure that it fits properly, has the padding and it's comfortable, and it's not going to slide around your head or come off when you that first impact. And yes, helmets are so important, and I know the kids in school said they weren't cool, but they are. When it comes to gloves, there are 3 main factors. Comfort, so it might give you more comfort for much longer rides, especially if you're like bike packing and things like this, or you're not used to just holding the handlebars for so long. Another thing is grip. Potentially they could give you more grip, and the most important factor is protection. Obviously when you fall, one of the first things you're going to do potentially is hold your hands out. And the last thing you want is to graze up your hands because, well, it's pretty gnarly. So I do carry a pair in my back pocket during the summer months, just in case I'm going down some crazy gravel rides or on tarmac down fast hills. I might take them out and just put them on. Otherwise, I generally go without. It's totally up to you. In the winter, I do wear like a nice thick warm pair. It's super important, it will make a massive difference. And then later on, maybe have a look at things like gilets. This can help with controlling temperature when you're going up hills and coming back down hills. The temperature can change a lot and very fast. So controlling your layers with things like arm warmers, gilets, these are super helpful. So definitely consider those now or maybe soon in the future as you build your kit. And yes, to answer your question, we do go commando under our bib shorts. Trust me, it makes a difference.
Look, my line, I get ready. Feeling too trippy, get it cracking like a levy. I'ma show 'em all how to party if they let me. Cue the countdown and release the confetti.
Tip number 3 is to measure your rides by time, not distance. A ride of 10 kilometers or miles on the road is not going to be the same as 10 miles or kilometers on gravel tracks. You want to consider things like terrain, weather, your route profile, so how hilly it's going to be. Time-based planning helps you avoid running out of energy, snacks, water, and daylight. More on that in tip 8.
Feeling too trippy, get it cracking like a levy. I'ma show 'em all how to party if they let me. Cue the countdown and release the confetti. The party don't start till I get there. Sit aside and the rest in it ain't fair. I've been waiting on this moment my whole life. Yeah, give me my crown if it's just right.
Tip number 4, saddlebag essentials. Okay, you don't need this many bags. Just the little one at the back there. You don't need fancy frame bags and things like this yet, but a little saddlebag will be really helpful. What I keep in mind, well, you might call me extreme because I carry quite a few things, but there are a few that you should start with. Inner tube, multi-tool, something with Allen keys, things like this on it, chain breaker and some chain links in case you break the chain. Puncture repair kit, this is a bonus if you do want to fix it on the road. Very essential, some kind of pump and some tyre levers. Now, there are a few other things I carry in mine, not essential, but I put in mine a little charger for my phone in case my phone dies, some tape, you know, electrical tape, something like this, emergency sweeties, not to be opened unless in case of an emergency to get you home. I also carry sometimes CO2 in a little capsule, a pair of headphones, super useful for listening to your podcast, your music, things like that. And last of all, my uncle once said this saved his life. So I thought, well, okay, I'm not gonna argue with that. This is a silver blanket, one of those things that you carry around in your first aid kit, or just bring this alone. Maybe you get trapped in a storm at the top of a mountain, or you're in shock because you had an accident. These sort of silver chicken foil blanket things apparently can be lifesavers. A lightweight wind and rain jacket is going to save your bum, especially in countries like the UK where the temperature is always changing, or if you're climbing up a lot of hills and you're getting hot and then you're going down the hill and you're getting cold. Something that you can throw in your back pocket is going to protect you from the wind, and when the rain comes, which, looking at the clouds, it might just do very soon, is really useful, and extra points if you get one that's reflective. Having a plan for when you puncture is super important, but in my opinion, don't use a repair kit until you get home. Instead, replace inner tube for inner tube. What I mean by this is use the puncture repair kit when you get back home where you're warm and dry. Instead of getting cold, numb hands or wet in the rain or next to busy traffic, holding up your mates on your group ride, just replace it for another inner tube. This is something you're going to need to practice when you're at home before you go out and get a puncture. Trust me, it will save you some time. The golden rule is to eat and drink at least every 45 minutes. Drink before you're thirsty, eat before you're hungry. If you're either of these things, it's probably a bit too late. You want to bring some kind of simple fuel. Fan favorites are things like jam sandwiches or sweets. I like dates or dried mango. Banana bread's a great one, even bananas themselves. If you haven't seen my Rich Roll video, I'll link it up here. He's got loads of good advice that I explored during that video. I love dried mango. I was once caught up a mountain in a storm and I bonked. There's this term called bonking. It's basically when you hit a wall and you just totally run out of energy, you've got nothing left to give and you don't know how you're going to get home. So this is where fuel is so important to avoid this. Totally run out of energy. A massive thunderstorm came in And to save the day, someone handed me a jowl that was full of honey. I would not have made it to the top of the mountain without it. It saved my bum. So trust me when I say bring snacks. Find your favorites, bring them along. It makes the whole riding experience way more fun anyway, because who doesn't love snacks? Even short rides can leave you depleted, so don't forget, it's way better to overpack on snacks than underpack. The next tip is bring a light. Even if you're just going out in the day and you think you're not going to be that long, great just to have it. A rear one that flashes red, super cheap, super easy to pick up. And a front one is just going to save your ass if you get a mechanical or something goes wrong. Who knows what the adventure might bring. So please bring a light. Safety first. The quality of light is going to vary on a spectrum from cheap and cheerful, something you throw on the front of your bike and traffic can see you better, something like this, to something that's actually going to light up the path and last a lot longer. These things can cost anywhere between a couple quid to 200 quid. But you can probably get a nice one that runs off a battery and lights up the path for maybe 30. Or the other day I managed to get one for sale at about £15. So there's lots of options. Definitely make sure you have a light. Tip number 9 is clean your drivetrain every time you ride, not just when it's wet conditions. You might get away with not cleaning the whole bike, but at the very least clean the drivetrain, because honestly it can last months or it can last years. It doesn't have to be any bike specific degreaser. Hot soapy water can do the job. You can even use an old dustpan brush, you know, nothing complicated. Keep it simple, and then once it's dry, reapply some lube. It saves money in the long run and it's much better to ride. Tip number 10, eat something as soon as possible when you get home. You've most likely created a calorie deficit, so you want to get those calories back in as soon as possible. Replacing energy quickly to avoid fatigue. If your stomach can't handle it right away, try light bites, maybe even a smoothie, and then eat some solids when you can. A go-to for me is a slice of sourdough toast with some jam, jelly for you Americans, and some peanut butter, or even a nice hot meal. This will help you with recovery and stop you from getting the cycling hangover later that day. So there you go, my top 10 tips. Hopefully you took something from them. I hope they helped. Again, welcome to cycling. It's a great sport, trust me, you're gonna love it. If you took something from them, or if you have advice for fellow cyclists, let us know in the community below. Comment, like, share, let's get out cycling. See you in the next one.